I call this Studio A because when we moved into our home, this is the first environment that I made into a music room. When I first moved in, it was a shed. It was a very simple space, but I knew when I looked at it, I thought, okay, this room has to be my studio. So what I'd like to do is take you on a little tour and show you what I keep in Studio A. I have the Korg Rudess. I'm a big fan of Korg. I actually took the Rudess with me on the road with Dream Theater a couple years ago. Used two of them on tour, actually. Below it, my Nord keyboard, the Nord Wave. Also, very nice keyboard. Down here, the Supernova that I really love. It's the one Novation keyboard I have in the room with me now, and it came out some years ago, but it had a very, very fat sound. Matter of fact, some of the sounds that I made on it, just by synthesizing and turning knobs, ended up being sampled and put onto like my Kurzweil 2600 and then later into my Kronos. I still use the Novation sounds. Everything from, you know, like really kind of crunchy to, you know, the more traditional kind of synthesis sounds that one might hear to. And lots of knobs and sliders and all kinds of cool stuff. Fun to have all the knobs here, changing all the different parameters. It's an instrument filled with different things to turn and twist. I'm a big fan of Dave Smith. Dave Smith is one of the great synthesizer makers, and I like to have his instruments around. Matter of fact, I have two of them. I've got the Evolver here, and I've also got the Prophet 8 over there. Underneath it, I have an instrument that some of you might recognize. I even have a laminate from an old Dream Theater tour here. That happens to be sitting right there. We'll place it here. This is called the Continuum. The Continuum, I started to play that around the Octavarium tour. It's kind of an alternative controller, but a lot of you know it as the kind of like wild lead-like sound that I use with it. Basically, it'll play any sound. It's a totally fretless kind of instrument. I love it. It's very different. And I actually just played it on the new Dream Theater album. I did a track using it. So it's definitely something that I find very close to my musical soul. Underneath it is a new instrument from me, but it's not such a new instrument conceptually. This is the Mellotron 4000D. It's probably the newest, kind of coolest Mellotron. What's great about it is it looks very much like the original Mellotron. I'm sure many of you have heard of the original Mellotron, but this one is totally digital. It has the look, it even has the feel because it's got wooden keys, and it's actually pretty heavy. But the whole thing is digital. But it has the sound. What's really cool is that you can actually mix two sounds together. I can go from this, I can move this little slider. Oh yes, I love this sound. The Mellotron had great sounds. Unfortunately, the original Mini Moog I had, I sold many years ago, but even after getting the Mini Moog Voyager, I wanted to have one more like the one I used to have that didn't have any presets or anything. I used to play space music concerts just on the Mini Moog. So this one brings me back. This is the Mini Moog old school, that's what they call it. So with this one, it's more about playing and just turning knobs, changing things, creating some nice space. You can really do that. Underneath the old school is the V-Synth keyboard. There's also a V-Synth rack. This one's called the V-Synth GT. Again, an instrument that has a number of knobs and sliders. I guess because I come from a knob and slider kind of background, I really like that. This instrument is very special. This is every now and then one of these companies puts out an instrument that has really cool things about it. This instrument was very morphable. You could do things like have a sampled instrument and change the pitch and time of it, which was very cool, very ahead of its time. Has great loops. This instrument is called the Little Fatty, and what's cool about the Little Fatty is that I basically am the one who premiered it in New York at Moog Fest. So when it first came out, or probably even a little bit before it came out, I had one. Moog sent it to me, and I made some cool sounds on it and wrapped my head around it, and brought it to Moog Fest, and basically announced it to the world. Below that is a new keyboard of mine, a very striking keyboard. You can see by its unique color, that's a little bit different. It's new, but it's made to kind of be very mini Moog-like, if you will. It's got the knobs, it's big knobs, so you can really get your hand on it and do some tweaking. It also has a pretty big sound, too. And it's got the very familiar wheels, which I like as well, for the modulation. And of course it is digital, so you can change the sound here. So it's a lot of fun. It doesn't only look cool, it also is very cool. This keyboard here is the Roland Jupiter 80, which has a little story to it. This is one of the keyboards that I was a programmer for before its release. I helped actually to create some of the sounds on it. I have a very nice relationship with Roland, and sometimes I'll do that. And it was a lot of fun to get into. It's very, very deep. You know, Roland has this amazing history of so many important synthesizer sounds, and this instrument, basically inside of it, in the heart of it, has the ability to play almost all of that. So I used it on the new Dream Theater record. That sounds amazing. It has some really great colors as well to some of the buttons, and it's a powerhouse. This is the instrument that I used on tour before I used the Korg stuff. I had a very good relationship with Kurzweil, still do. It's a very powerful instrument, and one of the reasons that it's here in front of my computer is because I really love the slider configuration. It's got these great sliders here, and it makes it very easy to assign different things to the sliders if I want to do any kind of like learn assignments and make them very easy. This instrument is great for that. It also has the wheels here that I really like a lot. It's got a ribbon, and it's been here actually for a while. This instrument here, this is my main keyboard with Dream Theater these days. With this instrument, I can basically do everything that I want to do. One very cool thing about it, if I move this pedal into position here, is that I can be playing a sound, like let's say this piano sound. While holding the notes, I can switch to another sound, switch again, and you don't hear any interruption in the sound, which is great for lives. If I'm playing, you know, and then I want to switch to the next sound, I can be like, okay. And switch again. So this instrument really is the workhorse of all the instruments in the room. This is the one that really kind of holds down the fort. Literally in a Dream Theater show, I will use this about 95% of the time.